I am 103 years old today. I am sitting quietly in my curated retreat with a perfect cup of black tea. I want to tell you a very bitter truth about growing older, sugar. The most brutal fight you face at this age is not the ticking clock. Well, it is the emotional manipulation from your very own loved ones. Society teaches elders a very dangerous lesson. They tell us we must constantly yield and bend over backward just to buy our family's love. We simply accept this bad deal. Your adult children love to wrap their strict control in a pretty package of concern and practicality. They hand it to you and expect complete gratitude. They use silent guilt trips as an invisible weapon against you. They do this to force you into losing control of your life story. I absolutely refuse to play that exhausting game. Giving in to these daily manipulations will completely drain your brain sparkle. You must stop giving away your power to people who already have enough of their own. My ultimate longevity secret is not about being a compliant and quiet grandmother. It is actually about forging boundaries made of pure titanium. I am going to reveal 3 ruthless but entirely necessary ways to instantly shut down emotional manipulation from your family. You owe them your love, but you do not owe them your sanity. You simply cannot have a happy ending to a miserable journey. Let us start with the very first trap. I call this the trap of fake, suffocating concern. Your children love to use this one. They call you on a Tuesday morning. The phone rings loudly while you are reading a good book. You pick it up. Your daughter sighs into the receiver. She sounds like she carries the weight of the entire world on her shoulders. She tells you she could not sleep last night. She says she was up at 2 in the morning worrying about you living alone in this big house. She wants you to move closer to her. She says she just needs peace of mind. This is a very clever trick. Her peace of mind is not your responsibility. It is her own emotional baggage. She is trying to hand that heavy suitcase to you. You do not have to take it. She is weaponizing her own anxiety. This is just a nasty little guilt trip. She is essentially making her emotional stability completely dependent on your physical surrender. You must not fall for this. Let me paint a very clear picture for you. Imagine you are sitting in your living room. You have your thermostat set exactly how you like it. I keep mine at a cozy 74 degrees. I earned my thermostat sovereignty. My son comes over for a visit. He immediately starts sweating. He wipes his forehead dramatically. He asks how I can breathe in this oven. He says it makes him very anxious to leave me in this heat. He reaches for the dial to turn it down. I slap his hand away. I do not do it gently either. I look him dead in the eye. I tell him this is my house. I tell him he can go sit in his own refrigerator across town if he wants to freeze. His anxiety about my temperature is his problem. You see the pattern here. Adult children create an emotional weather system. They brew up a storm of worry and panic. Then they expect you to stand in the rain with them. You do not have to get wet. You can simply stay inside your warm house. You can watch them panic through the window. You just tell them you love them. Then you go back to reading your book. You protect your brain sparkle at all costs. You refuse to let their manufactured panic dim your light. Now we must discuss the second major manipulation tactic. This is the absolute worst one. I call this the safety imperative. This is the ultimate trump card your family will play. You mention you want to drive to the grocery store. You mention you want to climb a small step stool to reach your favorite teacup. You mention you want to travel to Florida for the winter. They immediately gasp. They tell you it is simply not safe anymore. They say they are just worried about your physical safety. They wrap their strict control in a thick blanket of false care. They want to bubble wrap your entire existence. They want you to sit quietly in a padded chair all day. They want you to fade into a giving up beige. They want to turn you into a helpless toddler. This is called authoritarian infantilization. It is insulting. It strips away your dignity. They use the natural risks of living a full life as a weapon against you. They make you feel guilty for simply wanting to remain a sovereign human being. Well, I have a very specific tool for this exact situation. You must learn the gray rock method immediately. This method will save your life. Let me explain how it works. You become completely boring. You become unbothered and unresponsive. You become a dull gray rock in a garden. Your son tells you he is taking away your car keys for your own good. He expects a fight. He expects you to yell and cry. He expects you to explain your vision test results. Do not do any of that. Explaining is a trap. Justifying your choices is a trap. It gives them fuel to keep arguing. You simply look at him. You keep your face completely blank. You let a long silence hang in the air. You make it awkward. Then you deliver the magic phrase. You say you understand why he feels that way. You say you have already made your final decision.
Then you stop talking.
You do not offer another single word. He will try to provoke you again. You just stare at him. You take a slow sip of your tea. You let him exhaust himself. A fire needs oxygen to burn. Your emotional reactions provide that oxygen. When you turn into a gray rock, you starve their fire. You watch their manipulative little flames sputter and die out. It is actually quite beautiful to witness. I used this exact method last Thanksgiving. My daughter decided my kitchen knives were too sharp. She actually brought a set of dull plastic knives to my house. She said she was terrified I would chop off a finger while slicing the turkey. She stood in my kitchen and cried real tears about it. She demanded I throw my good steel knives in the garbage. In the past, I would have yelled at her. I would have felt terribly guilty for ruining her holiday. Not anymore. I remembered my status as the matriarch. I looked at her plastic knives. I looked back at her. I did not raise my voice. I just told her she was welcome to order a pizza for herself if my kitchen was too dangerous. Then I picked up my favorite steel carving knife. I sliced that turkey with absolute precision. I enjoyed every single bite. She eventually stopped crying and ate the turkey too. You see, sugar, you cannot negotiate with terrorists. Sometimes those terrorists are the people you gave birth to. You must hold your ground. You must let them deal with their own irrational fears. Your independence is not a crime. Your autonomy is not a sin. It is the very foundation of your longevity. This brings me to the third manipulation tactic. It is the ugliest one of them all. I call this the "you owe us" trap. Society paints a very specific picture of an elderly grandmother. They show a sweet old lady in a flower-covered apron. She bakes chocolate chip cookies all day long. She waits desperately by the rotary telephone. She waits for her family to call. She has absolutely no life. She has no hobbies of her own. She exists only to serve the younger generations. This is a complete fantasy. Adult children buy into this fantasy completely. They assume your calendar is entirely empty. They think your time automatically belongs to them. They drop by unannounced on a Tuesday afternoon. They expect you to drop everything for them. They demand free babysitting on a busy Saturday morning. They want to go to a loud brunch. They go with their friends. They leave 3 screaming toddlers in your pristine living room. The toddlers have sticky fingers. They touch your favorite antique lamps. They spill juice on your nice rugs. Your children call it precious family bonding time. I call it forced unpaid labor. You are exhausted by noon. Your back aches terribly from bending over. Your quiet sanctuary is completely destroyed. Your children do not care about your exhaustion. They only care about their brunch reservations. You just accept it silently. You desperately want to be a good grandmother. Then one brave day you finally say no. You tell your daughter you cannot watch the wild kids this weekend. You tell her you just want to rest your bones. You tell her you want to watch your favorite classic movies in absolute silence. The reaction is immediate. The reaction is dramatic. The guilt trip begins instantly. She acts completely shocked. She gasps loudly. She crosses her arms over her chest. She sighs heavily. She deploys the ultimate emotional weapon. She calls you selfish. She says you are being completely selfish to the whole family. She pulls out an invisible accounting ledger. She starts listing every single tiny thing. She lists everything she has ever done for you. She reminds you about that one time. She drove you to the eye doctor 3 years ago. She reminds you about last Christmas. She bought you a cheap cardigan sweater. She uses these tiny acts of basic human decency as pure blackmail. She demands total submission in return. She wants to demote your status in the family hierarchy. She wants to remind you about your debt to her. She thinks she can buy your total obedience. She thinks one car ride equals a lifetime of servitude. She expects you to grovel. She expects you to apologize immediately. She expects you to change your mind. She expects you to take the screaming kids. This is exactly where you must flip the script, sugar. You must take that nasty word. You must wear it proudly like a diamond crown. Yes, you are selfish. I am incredibly selfish. I am unapologetically selfish. I accept that label as a high badge of honor. Being selfish at this extreme age is a basic survival skill. I spent 80 long years putting every single person ahead of myself. I raised multiple children through difficult times. I managed a chaotic household on a tight budget. I cooked thousands of hot meals. I washed thousands of dirty shirts. I ironed those shirts perfectly. I scrubbed floors until my knees bled. I paid my heavy debt to society a very long time ago. I do not owe anyone another single minute of my free time. I look my daughter right in her angry eyes. I do not apologize for my strict boundaries. Well, I just smile very sweetly at her. I tell her she is absolutely right. I tell her my time is finally my own now. I tell her she needs to open her wallet. She needs to hire a local babysitter. I shut my heavy oak front door. I lock it with a loud click. My daughter stands on my front porch. She stares at the closed door in total disbelief. I walk back into my quiet house. I protect my sacred space with absolute ferocity. Living alone is not a sad punishment. Protecting your peace is not a crime. It is the greatest earned luxury in the whole wide world. You have to establish an ironclad rule for your remaining years. I use 4 simple words: my house, my rules. You enter my personal home strictly on my terms. You do not bring your chaotic modern energy into my curated retreat. You do not dump your noisy children here without asking weeks in advance. You do not demand my precious energy. You request it very nicely. If I say no, you accept it immediately. You do not throw a childish adult tantrum. If you try to guilt trip me in my own kitchen, I will ask you to leave immediately. I do not negotiate with emotional terrorists. I do not bargain for my own respect. I have done it before. I will absolutely do it again. I once packed up my teenage grandson's noisy video games. I put them in a black garbage bag. I sent him home early. He was complaining loudly about my small television screen. He was whining about the lack of junk food. I told him the front door works both ways. My family knows I am absolutely serious now. They know I will never tolerate emotional blackmail. This strictness does not make me a bad mother. It makes me a strong matriarch. It makes me an unbothered leader. It forces them to respect me as an independent human being. It forces them to grow up. It forces them to manage their own messy lives. They simply cannot rely on me. They cannot expect me to fix their daily problems anymore. Let me tell you what happens when you finally enforce this rule. You experience true freedom. You experience unfiltered peace. You wake up on a Saturday morning. The house is completely silent. The house is blissfully quiet. You make your favorite loose leaf tea. You sit in your comfortable armchair by the window. You watch the red cardinal birds at the wooden feeder. You do not feel a single ounce of toxic guilt. You do not worry about anyone else's busy schedule. You own your time completely. You keep your brain sparkle shining remarkably bright. You stop absorbing the frantic stress of younger people. You let them make their own parenting mistakes. You let them figure out their own weekend childcare logistics. You simply exist in your own beautiful world. You exist in a peaceful reality. You earned this ultimate peace. You survived a chaotic century on this difficult earth. You deserve to enjoy the rest of your journey. You do not have to carry anyone else's heavy emotional baggage. It is a truly wonderful feeling. You stop being a passive victim of your family's endless demands. You finally become the absolute ruler of your own magnificent kingdom. Your kingdom has strong walls. Your kingdom has a very heavy drawbridge. Listen to me very carefully now, my darling. You have done enough worrying for one single lifetime. You have carried the heavy emotional burdens of your entire family for several decades. You have cooked endless hot meals. You have cleaned messy childhood rooms. You have stressed over every little detail. It is finally time to put those heavy bags down on the floor. Your children are fully grown adult human beings. They have to navigate their own daily storms. You simply cannot be their permanent emotional umbrella anymore. They might get a little wet in the rain. They will absolutely survive the bad weather. Setting strict boundaries does not make you a bad mother. It proves you finally respect yourself. It proves you prioritize your own peace of mind. You are not a bad parent for wanting a quiet Saturday afternoon. You are a wise elder. You are protecting your precious remaining time. You are the sovereign queen of your own territory. I want you to do something very specific for me right now. I want you to leave your digital phone on the table. I want you to stand up from your comfortable chair. I want you to walk over to your nearest sunny window. I want you to look outside at the big wide world. Look at the bright sky. Look at the green trees. Take a very deep breath. Fill your tired lungs with that beautiful fresh air. Feel the absolute stillness in your quiet living room. It is a truly magnificent feeling. That silence is not a sad loneliness. That silence is the beautiful sound of total freedom. You earned every single second of this absolute freedom. Do not let anyone ever make you feel guilty for simply enjoying it. Go make yourself a fresh hot cup of tea. Read that thick book. You have been putting it off for months. Go take a long guilt-free nap in your own soft bed. Your only job today is to protect your bright brain sparkle. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. Well, I am so incredibly proud of you, sugar.